Hey guys, Gary here, and it's time for a video that's been 3 years in the making. Only takes me about 10 minutes to record, I'm sure, but 3 years in the making. And what took me so long? Well, it's been a crazy 3 years. So I guess let's backtrack to the last time I uploaded. I was trying to upload videos while I was in Fort McMurray. And you'll notice that that's past tense. I'll explain why shortly. But yeah, it has been a life-changing experience in Fort McMurray. Any celebrity that goes up there, we've had a bunch of celebrities. Leonardo DiCaprio came up there and basically shot on the place for environmental reasons. And you know what? Maybe the oil sands are not the cleanest way to get energy, oil products, what have you. But do you like your iPhone? Where does it come from? Oil. So it's not as if we can just completely disregard oil. We need as much as we can produce responsibly. So, but that's not the point for McMurray. The point for McMurray is the city that the oil built, the community that oil built. So, I guess first thing I'm going to do in my 3 year catch up, shall we say, is rant in favor of Fort McMurray. What a great place. What an amazing bunch of people. I don't live there anymore, and again, I'll tell you why. I miss them every day. I love where I'm at now, but I do miss the people I got to work with, the people I got to meet, go out, drink with, party with, play games with, travel with. Fort McMurray has been a life-changing experience for me, and that combined with a couple sort of technical problems that I was having with my Let's Play setup caused me to stop. I didn't have that itch to record anymore. So that's why my stop was abrupt, unannounced, without warning, without justification. So that's how it happened. And why now? Why 3 years later am I telling you all this? Because the itch is back, baby. And I've got a couple of ideas coming down the pipe, and I'll discuss that a little later also. So stay tuned. That'll probably be a different video of my future projects, because I've got a lot to catch up on. So what did I do when I was in Fort McMurray? Of course, I was working at the airport doing my thing. But then I got to travel to all sorts of places. I got to travel to Paris. Just, had a little bit of money set aside, and I was called up a friend of mine. I was visiting some family in Montreal at the time, and I called up a friend of mine in Ottawa. I'm like, "Do you want to go to Paris this weekend?" And their answer was no, because they couldn't believe what the offer was. They were so shocked, they said no. So, they ended up coming. And it ended up being 4 of us going to Paris for a weekend. Just for a weekend. Just because we could. And did. And we enjoyed every second of that. I got to see Paris. I've got to see Phoenix. I got to see Vegas. I went, actually, even just a small town in the United States, Missoula. It's in, I guess, northern Montana somewhere. I forget, where in Montana it lies specifically. It is in the state of Montana. Actually went down there for a heavy metal concert. Got to see Five Finger Death Punch. There was a new band from Ashes to New. Amazing band. They've been around 4 or 5 years now, I think, but they're not super mainstream even amongst the metal scene yet. But definitely worth checking them out. So it was Five Finger Death Punch, From Ashes to New, Papa Roach. Admittingly, I only ever heard the one song from Papa Roach, The Last Resort. So I was surprised that they were still around putting out songs all these years later. But there you go, I wasn't paying attention. And of course, most importantly, the biggest reason I went to go was for In This Moment. Because, they put out Sick Like Me and I became an instant fan. I've since gotten a couple of CDs so I can go through their back catalog. So, yeah, my metal side came out. So I got to do all that and more, and just go to a pub, party with people, see a few movies. Of course, I've seen Star Wars. I did not see the newest one yet. I don't know, just because I need to be dragged to a movie, I'm the kind of person that needs to be dragged to a movie. But I've seen at least one of the new Star Wars movies. I've seen the Avengers movies, of course. I never thought I would ever become a fan of Captain America. I never liked him in the comic books. But the portrayal of Captain America in Civil War and especially in The Winter Soldier made me an instant fan. So yeah, I got to see cool movies, cool places. Hung out in Edmonton and Calgary a few times. I generally like Calgary more than Edmonton. No offense to the people of Edmonton. I've met a couple of cool people from there, but I just like Calgary better. I like the vibe of Calgary. Great city. Check it out when you can. It's not a huge city by any means, but you go to the downtown core, you can see the Calgary Tower. You can go to the Olympic they have their Olympic Park. It's actually really cool to see that, especially in the summertime when the fountains are running. Really awesome museum. I think it was called the Dow. I think that's what it was called. Don't hold me to it. I can't recall the name of the museum, but it was really, really awesome. So check out Calgary if you've never ever considered visiting Calgary. Seriously, check it out. Clean city, very friendly people over there. Check that place out. Uh, so I keep talking about Fort McMurray in the past tense. Where am I? Edmonton, Calgary? No, I'm now in Kelowna, British Columbia. I came here a little over a year ago, so I came in February of 2016. That's about 2-3 months before the fires happened. I ended up missing out on that, but I can't say I wasn't touched by it. I was worried sick for all my friends, and I was so emotionally drawn to the situation that I literally made myself sick. Like watching the videos, watching the city burn. One of my friends is a firefighter in Fort McMurray, and she and her team did an amazing job. I've since gone back to Fort McMurray, visited a couple times, and it's amazing how much of it still stands considering what they had to deal with. It was definitely sad to see the neighborhoods that were burnt. It was definitely emotional to see the people that were directly affected by it. But, yeah. So, my move to Kelowna was timely. It was just a clean transfer. It was a decision I made because of the oil in Fort McMurray. They have to pay contractors more to build houses, therefore houses are more expensive. Therefore, car dealers and car repair people charge more to fix cars so they can afford houses. So, it's just one of those really weird, overboard economies that for where Fort McMurray is, I could not justify dropping, $800,000 on a house. Couldn't justify it. Doesn't make sense there. But for their economy, it does, and it is not something I was interested in. So I figured I'd come to Kelowna because it's closer to civilization. It's about 4 hour drive between Fort McMurray and Edmonton, which is the closest bowling alley. Really, Fort McMurray doesn't even have a bowling alley. Fun fact. But Kelowna, there's more to do here. There's more parks. I've since learned the art of disc golf, and I'll never claim to be a superstar disc golfer, although I've managed to make some pretty sweet long putts. For those that don't know, it's you throw basically a modified frisbee into a basket. And I say modified because if you use a real frisbee and you toss that around, you'll just smash it into the trees or smash it into the basket. It'll just fall apart. These modified discs are harder plastic, and they have different cuts and different balancing, so that there's some you let go, straight as an arrow, and others you let it go, they'll just go and swerve to the side. So you have to learn to get to know your discs, how far they can go, how hard they will turn, and of course your own ability to throw them. Of course, how far you can throw them, how much energy you can put on them, how straight you can throw them, because if you throw them up, they're just going to dive down and you're not going to get your distance. And the point of entry is so cheap. It's for a starter set of discs, maybe 30 Canadian dollars. Pretty cool. And most places that have a disc golf park are free. And there are There's just one in Kelowna. There's one over in nearby Penticton. Um, there's one or two up in Kamloops. Kamloops is only about an hour and a half, 2 hours away from here by car. I've not been to Kamloops yet. I hear it's not so interesting a city, but I'll be the judge of that perhaps this summer. There's apparently a really nice course out in Canmore that's up in the Rocky Mountains, just on the Alberta side of the border. Kelowna, of course, is in British Columbia. So yeah, I made the move here, and it's been 13 months now that I've been living in Kelowna. It's been a wild ride so far. Recently settled down, bought a new place, so I'm still riding solo actually. It's pretty cool that I managed to do it. But I've made some pretty cool friends out here. And I don't know if any of them will get involved in my videos or not. I'm definitely going to be inviting them to participate. One guy, I know he's actually a photographer and a DJ, and a brony, but not the kind of brony that justifies the stereotypes they get. He's actually a really, really cool guy. If you need his help to clean out a garage, he'll be there for you. He's that kind of dude. He's awesome. His name is Midley, and I'll have a link for Midley down probably in the description of the video. Definitely check him out. He's done some pretty good work. He doesn't think he's great at DJing yet, but that's true of anybody that's got some artistic skill. Obviously, I don't have very much. I never think I'm that great, but you throw a party, he's around, and he's got his DJ equipment. He'll spin for you, and it's gonna sound good. You're gonna enjoy it, I guarantee. So yeah, that's my news basically. And about a week from now, there's gonna be a Kelowna Fan Expo. It's not a huge expo, but I'm going to be hosting a board game table there. I'm going to be trying to show people Ascension, which is one of my favorite tabletop games these days. It's a fun little card game. I might go more into depth in a future video on how to play that game, just because, well, again, one of my favorites. It's a nice, easy deck builder, and it's actually very accessible. Anyone who's not really familiar with card games can jump right into it, I feel. And I've tried it with people who don't play card games, and they get right into it. It just takes a couple of turns. It's pretty cool to see that. So yeah, of course, gaming is still a big thing for me. I've very recently gotten back into Dungeons and Dragons, and I'm playing okay, it sounds generic, a half-elf sorcerer, a very generic sounding character. But I definitely spent more time on the backstory of this character than I have for any previous character I've done. When I was playing 3.5, when I was playing Legend of the Five Rings, if anybody remembers that game. Fantasy Flight should be putting out a new edition, I think, this year. So keep an eye out for that, because I definitely like the Legend of the Five Rings universe. It's a take on feudal Japan. It's not quite feudal Japan, but it's got a take on it. As far as non-gaming things, as I mentioned, I've gone to Phoenix. Phoenix is a gorgeous city. I love the parks around there. I did not have a chance to check out the Grand Canyons, which aren't too far from there. But on a future trip, I definitely have to. Huge fan of Phoenix. Vegas, my thoughts on Vegas. It's good for 2-3 days at a time. I know people that have gone for 2-3 weeks at a time. I don't have that much money to gamble away. So no, I definitely can't manage that one. I'm not a gambler, actually. As much as I love gaming, I am not a gambler. So, I'll watch the roulette tables, I'll watch the card games, but I don't really want to play those games. They're not... I play games for fun, not for stakes. So, there you go. That's just me. So I've learned disc golf, of course, and I'm definitely in better shape than I was in Fort McMurray when I actually gained weight in Fort McMurray, because admittingly the quality of food that makes it to Fort McMurray, to our grocery stores there, is kind of low. And you also kind of get that sort of acid reflux thing going on. The Fort McMurray acid reflux, I don't know. I don't know if that was just me or if everybody's got that. I never really asked any of the locals about it. But definitely coming to Kelowna, we have better access to food, and actually great access to wine. There's a lot of wineries out here in the Okanagan Valley, as we call it. It includes Oliver, Penticton, Osoyoos, Kelowna, Vernon. So, tons of wineries around. You can try all sorts of varieties: fruit wines, acidic wines, softer wines, whites, reds, pinks. Every variety that you would imagine is out here. And Kelowna itself is also known for golf and for skiing. Those are actually two things I don't do. But that's what Kelowna is famous for. A lot of tourists come to Kelowna. And in the springtime, depending on when you come, it's entirely possible to go up to Big White Mountain. That's one of our most popular resorts. Spend the morning skiing. Come into the city, grab a bite, and then take your clubs to one of the local golf courses. It's a thing that happens. You can ski and golf in the same day in Kelowna. It's pretty nifty. Again, I'm not the sports guy, so that's why I've adopted disc golf so much. It's a good sport for me because I don't have a great back for sports, so it's a good sport for me. And again, low investment. You play for an hour at a time, and you still have the rest of your day. It's pretty cool. And I'll probably show off some of my discs later on. That sums up my 3 years. So that's a very, very rough summary. So these days, I guess what I've been doing in the past couple months, of course, I just bought this place, so I kind of been laying low for a little while. Laying low even amongst my friends. So my friends are like, "Are you still alive?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course. I just can't take out my Visa card for a while." So there you go. But I definitely did drop some money. Oops. By the way, I really, really hope the new Wonder Woman movie is awesome. It better be. Because unlike, say, Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, even the Avengers at this point, I want Wonder Woman to be an awesome movie because she is nowhere near as overexposed as all those other superheroes I've mentioned. Not even close. And honestly, the last time we had a live action Wonder Woman, I think was in the I feel like it was in the 60s, the 1960s. It's been like 40, 50 years, 56. Actually, close to 60 years, almost 60 years since we've had a live action Wonder Woman, I think. Like, they had a really campy show where, she was just beating up on normal everyday robbers, I think. I only saw like 1 or 2 episodes of it on like Deja Vu or whatever they call that channel now. The name's probably changed. I mean, I don't have cable. I'm kind of I'm like old enough to remember cable and too young to have it or need it. I love being in this strange in-between phase that is the 30s. So yeah, that's I guess that sums it up in a video about twice as long as I anticipated. So with that in mind, I'm gonna let you guys go here. I'll probably put out some other videos in the coming weeks, just talking about what my future projects are, because I do have a couple of ideas, and yes, I do promise to finally get a better camera and better microphone. It's the same one that I used 3 years ago. I just kind of dug it up and checked to see if it still worked, and it does. But I'm sure I can do better video and better audios with another better webcam, so probably next time I talk to you, it'll be on said better webcam. So until I pull out my Visa card again and actually buy something, I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.